Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here, and welcome to another video. So of course, at long last, we got the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Sicks, and it's safe to say it delivered. It was ridiculously emotional. I'm not afraid to admit I shed a tear or two. Actually, more than that. If I'm being completely transparent, I shed a lot of tears. It was so emotional. There were so many touching tributes to, of course, the late Bray Wyatt, and you know full well that Wyndham is looking down from heaven on his brother with a smile. You know full well that he's proud of what his brother's accomplished. Because since the debut of the Wyatt Sicks, it's safe to say they've smashed it. Exactly 11 years on from the main roster debut of the Wyatt family, we got the in-ring debut of the Wyatt Sicks, of course, getting a debut victory against the newly named American Made. And shout out, by the way, to Chad Gable and the Creed brothers for the part that they've played in this so far. They have smashed it. They have really sold so well. When you think back a few weeks to the Sister Abigail that Uncle Howdy delivered on Chad Gable sold the living daylights out of that. And it was such a brilliant match. I thought it really delivered. The naysayers that say they just need to get in the ring and wrestle, there's a lot of chemistry between the two sides, specifically the Wyatt Sicks. I love the chemistry between Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, of course, Huskus the Big Boy and Mercy the Buzzard. And there were so many touching tributes. Where do we even start? The fact that they came down to shatter Bray Wyatt's theme, of course, performed by Code Orange. And I was wondering how it was going to fit in, but it fitted in to perfection. I love the fact that they've honoured the legacy of Bray by continuing his theme in the presentation of the Wyatt Sicks. The fact that they had the lantern sat on the rocking chair, I mean, I just welled up when I saw that. The fact that Eric Rowan slid the rocking chair down to the ring just like he did when, of course, he was part of the Wyatt family, the OG Wyatt family. The fact that he flipped the Rambling Rabbit mask round the other way to reveal, of course, the Bludgeon Brothers mask in tribute to, of course, Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper. I mean, the Fireflies in full force. So emotional. I thought that the Wyatt Sicks in-ring debut really delivered, but I also thought this is just the start of the Wyatt Sicks. The sky is the limit. There are so many creative directions that they can go, so many layers to the storytelling. The very fact that each individual member has a motivation as to why they've joined the Wyatt Sicks. It's often come from some form of hurt, in pain, in suffering, or maybe some form of abandonment. And each character can evolve further as the storylines progress. Of course, this week, we got the Joe Gacy backstory, if you like, reveal. It was very short and sharp and effective, but it hit home the very fact that Joe Gacy is seriously disturbed and unhinged. The fact that he screamed out, "Let us in," along with Uncle Howdy. Are they embracing Bray Wyatt's darkest alter ego in The Fiend? Because, of course, they've already followed the words of the Red, or the words of the Red coming via The Fiend. Will The Fiend play some form of role in this Wyatt Sicks storyline? And I'm not saying that anyone's going to portray The Fiend, but are we going to get some form of backstory and link to The Fiend and the Wyatt Sicks? But the signs were there. Remember the first time we saw Joe Gacy portraying Huskus the Big Boy? He held his hand up towards his head, just like The Fiend did, with The Fiend hurt glove hand. The fact that Uncle Howdy said to Joe Gacy, "They thought they could control you. They locked you away, but I saw their lies. Open your heart to the man in the woods, and now make them all pay for their sins." Now, of course, we know the man in the woods was The Fiend. I thought that was really interesting how they tied that to the character of Joe Gacy. And the very fact that there was that creepy humming in the background. Did you pick it out? Of he's got the whole world in his hands, when, of course, we got this link with Uncle Howdy and Joe Gacy. I'm really curious as to why they left Joe Gacy as the last character to be explored within the Wyatt Sicks. And if there's any character that could play off multiple alter egos, it would be Joe Gacy. a sort of Mick Foley type gimmick potentially from Joe Gacy, portraying various alter egos maybe. And of course, as I said earlier, each character has a motivator as to why they've joined the Wyatt Sicks. Look at Nikki Cross, for instance. She felt abandoned, alone. All she wanted was a friend. And if we're really looking at the little details, maybe it was the plan all along for Nikki Cross to portray Abby the Witch and be part of the Wyatt Sicks. Because if you go all the way back to Uncle Howdy's weather report in the lead up to WrestleMania 39, we of course know he was circling around Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, we know that has links and connections, we know now, to Eric Young, of course, the former leader of Sanity. He chose to go to TNA and not be part of what was going to be surely the Wyatt Sicks under the leadership and guidance of Bray Wyatt originally. But remember, Nikki Cross was part of Sanity. Sanity was her family, and that family fell apart. And of course, we look back to the very obvious connection that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross had. Alexa Bliss was Nikki Cross's friend. She trusted Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss embraced the Fiend, turned to the dark side, and turned her back on Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross has never got over this to this day. So how is that going to tie in when, of course, we get the return of Alexa Bliss? Nikki Cross is constantly felt alone, but she's not alone anymore. And of course, you've got characters like Eric Rowan portraying Ramblin' Rabbit, and he's motivated by the hurt and loss of his two brothers in Brody Lee and Bray Wyatt. He's still in so much pain and uses that pain as a motivator. The very fact that he quite frequently displays Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper's Bludgeon Brothers mask. His brother is literally on his back, by his side constantly. He's fueled by that pain, that loss, and he's now going to inflict pain on others. And this is his motivation for being in the Wyatt Sicks. And Dexter Lumis, I kind of feel, is the loose cannon of the Wyatt Sicks. He's the most changed, certainly physically. He's unrecognizable since the previous WWE run of Dexter Lumis. The way kind of fell apart. Dexter Lumis was part of that. Remember Index, and of course his literal marriage to Indy Hartwell. That seems to have subsided. And it seems like Dexter Lumis is the most unpredictable character when it comes to this faction. He's very much a loose cannon. He's very aerial in his performance in the ring as well. He seems to be doing a lot of high-flying maneuvers, which I really, really like, because it's quite terrifying when you think of the physicality of Dexter Lumis. But of course, he is portraying Mercy the Buzzard, so it kind of makes sense. And of course, when it comes to Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, and his darkest alter ego in Uncle Howdy is everything. I am all of us. He is literally embracing all of Bray Wyatt's previous gimmicks in one. When you look at Uncle Howdy and the presentation of Uncle Howdy in 2024, physically, he is basically all of the versions of Bray Wyatt rolled into one. Cult Leader Bray, Eater of Worlds Bray, the latest version we got to see of Bray Wyatt, of course, upon his return to WWE in 2022, and of course, The Fiend. He is ridiculously powerful. They're all following this circle, seemingly following Uncle Howdy in his guidance, and he is literally fully covering for his brother in, of course, Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. Lie for me, brother. Know not what you said. Use me for cover. Of course, we know from previous that Bray Wyatt was Uncle Howdy. He admitted it. He said, I am the Eater of Worlds. I am Uncle Howdy. I am him. Uncle Howdy was his darkest psyche. Uncle Howdy manipulated Bray, controlled Bray in a way. And of course, since the passing of Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy is now controlling Bo Dallas. But Bo Dallas hasn't resisted him. He has embraced Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas's darkest alter ego. I love the details within all of that. And Bo has not only embraced Uncle Howdy, he's embraced all of Bray Wyatt and fully honoured the legacy of Bray Wyatt creatively by continuing the Firefly Funhouse and bringing that to life. I absolutely love it when Bo Dallas goes, "There you are." It's like you can see and fully embrace Uncle Howdy takes on Uncle Howdy. I just love the details within all of that. I think it works really, really well. And that's why I think the sky's the limit when it comes to the Wyatt Sicks. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes next. And I've got a question for you, the wrestling fans. What do you think happens next with the Wyatt Sicks? Do you think there's more layers in this feud with American Made? Do we potentially get an individual match between Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable? What do you think we're going to see next? Do you think we're going to get a new feud entirely? Get down in the comments section. Of course, share your thoughts and opinions. And as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. And we'll catch you in the next one.